broken past.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Book of Refugees podcast. The music you've just heard was created during a Common Ground workshop, and today I'm joined by colleagues from the School of Arts and Creative Technologies at the University of York who created the project. Hello and welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
Hello again, and thanks for coming on the podcast. So before we start, if we could just introduce ourselves.
I'm Marianna. And I work as an associate lecturer for the School of Arts and Creative Technologies here. And I've been working with Common Ground for now around 2 years.
Hello, I'm Bethan, and I am a community musician working in and around York.
Hiya, I'm Federico, and I'm an associate lecturer in music education at the School of Arts and Creative Technologies at this university, and I'm also guitar teacher in Erdekota.
Hi, I'm Liz. I'm a reader at the University of York in the School of Arts and Creative Technologies, and I'm also like a pianist, lapsed violinist, general musician.
Hello, I'm Laura. I, like Bethan, graduated with a music degree from the University of York quite a few years ago now. And since then, I've been working in community music, some teaching.
Thanks very much, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. Okay, we first met at a Common Ground workshop that I attended recently. Would you somebody like to explain what Common Ground is?
So Common Ground is a group of, three of us are academic colleagues in the School of Arts and Creative Technologies. That's me and Federico and Mariana. And then we're joined by Laura and Bethan, who are former students of music at the University of York. And we got together maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And it was quite interesting because I'd been thinking about music projects that had a kind of social dimension and how important it would be to do this kind of work in York, where we know that there's a large number of refugees come through and probably not that much opportunity for them in terms of creative outlets. And then I spoke with Federica and Mariana, and both of you were absolutely like, this is something we've just been thinking about. And we were thinking about what we might do in a project. And I spoke to Bethan and Laura, who had been having the same idea. And so it seemed like a whole set of things just crystallized together. And it felt like we had the right people to create a project and to do some things going forwards.
So how is the Common Ground project funded?
We've been really grateful to the University of York, the Centre for Modern Studies, because we were successful in applying for a grant from them, which has enabled us to do some extra work for this particular project. And that's been brilliant because we've been able to invite Bethan and Laura to do some workshops and to have some of the research side of things carried out by Federico and Mariana. So that is really good. And I'd just also like to flag up my thanks to Megan Russell in the HRC for all her help with the logistical side of things.
So the university helped you with funding to start with. Were there any other sources of funding after that?
So we applied for some money, which was from the City of York Council, and that funded our first project, which was a set of 10 workshops that we did at the Citadel in York. And from there, we've done various other bits and pieces, but that was our starting point. And our aim has really been to provide some creative opportunities for people to engage with music, whatever their backgrounds, whatever their kind of musical interests, for us to bring people together, explore what we consider to be common grounds between us. And that might be musical common ground, or it might be common ground through some other art forms such as dance or music.
So how did the Common Ground project and the Book of Refugees project come together?
I did some work looking at what else was going on in the university with sanctuary, asylum seekers, students, and whether we had staff here as well who were interested in this area of work. And I happened across the Book of Refugees, and it was a moment of thinking, there is some other work of this nature happening. Potentially, we could bring things together so that we could add a music dimension to the book itself. And then we had some conversations about that, and that's how this project started.
Of course, because the project aims to create a window through which we are given access to the memories and stories of refugees in the form of poems, art, calligraphy, painting.
Yeah, and it was really exciting to see that the book already had the creative dimension with artwork in the book and links to some music videos. And we read quite a lot of the material online and were really bowled over by how rich that was in terms of starting points for music making. And that is basically one of the sort of core principles of how we work, is to think about that anything really could be a source of inspiration for the musical work. It doesn't have to be something particularly grand or significant.
Yeah, in the workshop that I attended, you used one of the paintings as part of the workshop.
Well, yeah, I was going to say it was in a particular workshop, which was part of the networking event. Yeah, we sort of printed out a couple of the pictures and then sort of went into little huddles around the circle, and we just talked and wrote down ideas about what that image meant to us in that moment. And then we sort of came back together and talked about maybe some overlapping themes or ideas or words or phrases that came to mind. And it so happened that someone actually sort of came up with a little melody and some words. And so that was our starting point to make a greater sort of landscape.
Let's listen to a recording of that I made at the workshop.
You are my friend, come shelter with me. We'll face the storm together from now to eternity. Oh, my friend, come shelter with me. We'll face the storm together, from now to eternity. You are my friend, come shelter with me. We'll face the storm together.
So you just explained about how the particular workshop that I attended worked. Is it the same sort of format each time? You said you sometimes go with pick a word or something rather than use a visual stimulus like you did last time.
Well, I think the beauty of it is that, the workshops are all about sharing. I think that's the word that sort of really sums up Common Ground. It's sharing, and it's a sort of two-way conversation and interaction between us as the team and facilitators and the people that come to the sessions. Within the sessions, we really try and break down the differentiation of facilitator and participant. And so, it's a real kind of privilege to learn from the participants.
Talking about kind of our normal structure of the workshops, a starting point that we had for them was the idea of like an English folk session. Traditionally, people bring songs and they share them, and they might improvise some ideas around them or take a bit of a song and think, oh, that reminds me of this song or this thing, which I'd like to play a piece of music about. And so we thought that was a really nice structure for a session, actually, to just have people in the room, and if they felt comfortable to share and to teach us songs, and maybe even to kind of layer up different songs from different cultures or different pieces of music or different dances, that would be a really nice thing.
And you don't have to be a musician to attend.
No, we tried to make that as clear as possible when we were advertising it, didn't we?
Everyone is a musician if you try hard. If you just join in with a piece of music. Like, musician is a big word, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we were really fortunate to have sort of partners, I suppose, with Refugee Action York and the Refugee Council and City of Sanctuary. And they were really helpful in advertising these sessions among people that they worked with as well. So we were always kind of trying to make it as clear as possible that, there were no expectations of the participants. That was it.
What I meant by that was you didn't have to be able to play an instrument.
No, of course not.
But for me, I particularly enjoyed wandering around playing the violin and making lots of unexpected sounds and contributing to the sort of musical textures. And it was very nice that we have a sort of overlay of harmony, guitar. We've got keyboard sometimes when we bring the keyboard, and we've got bouzouki, which Laura plays, and we've got melody instruments and also our bag of percussion instruments.
Yeah.
And actually really key in each workshop.
Absolutely,
I think people involved.
Yeah.
Having something there that is not an instrument that people think they can't play.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think in the workshops so far, like, you know, having a strummed instrument like a bouzouki that I play has helped to provide a bit of a base layer to, you know, so that people can feel enabled to then add on top of that, make it less like that.
Well, I found it interesting that in the sort of choice of instruments we had all on the floor there, people who obviously did play the guitar or whatever sort of grabbed that, but other people just grabbed various percussion instruments. But once we'd been going, everybody started playing for maybe 30 seconds or so, it all seemed to fall into place. It all dropped in quite nicely.
Yeah, I think the other thing to note with the percussion instruments is that the bag of instruments, sort of a suitcase in your case, is very varied, and people are not stuck with the same instrument for ages. It's a very free thing that they can just come and change instruments if they don't like the one they've got, or after a bit, if they think, let's try something else, that's absolutely fine. And we really are glad to see them feeling confident enough to come and swap their instrument and try something else. That's a huge step for a lot of people. So not necessarily even expecting musical involvement. We've seen quite a few participants who've initially appeared a bit reserved or shy, but actually as they've sat there and seen things happening within the group, they felt much more able to gradually join in. And that's been really nice. I think one of the things that's really helped that has been, for example, when Federico, you've talked to people about their interests and they've shared like pop music videos and things.
I think it was so participants' insights were really important. I think that they were also like a learning opportunity for us, because we started creating musical material using participants' musical interests. Yeah, I think, especially there was, I think, a Ukrainian song, the best now, which is Spring. So we started from there. We created a very nice composition, or I remember a very powerful experience. So one of the participants was particularly confident in singing, and she started singing, with some Arabic inflections. So interesting, I think, musical phrases. From there, I imitated the voice, with the guitar. Then Lizzie started improvising, and I think also Bethany, we created a very nice and interesting composition that I think was new to us and new to the participants. So we created meaning altogether. In fact, we really were interested in, I think, exploring how we create meaning, using text, using music. And it was one of the key aspects of, for example, the latest research element.
You mentioned research there. We're at a university, so we've got to talk about that. So how does the project interface interact with the research?
Yeah, so we were really interested in on this relationship between text meaning and how facilitators created meaning with participants using text as a means to exploring music and creating music. So we had a conversation with the facilitators, so how they collaborated with the participants. Then we also did a little, a short questionnaire among participants to see how they responded to that. And it's very unfortunate that we had just 4 workshops, but we did, get some interesting data, how the workshops were really a source of inspirations for participants, because in the workshops we created a few songs. So starting from the Book of Refugee, it was a quite interesting experience, because we started from text, and then from there we created a song. It was a very cheerful moment for the participants, for us.
You kind of are making music in the moment with people, and that's nice. And you're kind of listening and responding to different sounds, and it's all going on. And you've got a kind of layer of understanding and a layer of meaning and a layer of engagement with the people around you. One of Ahmed's poems, actually, we'd created a song to it, or we'd used his words and just put melody to the words. And it was quite hard work. So we had different ideas coming from different people, and it felt it was a process to get to the song. But when we managed to record it and listen back, it kind of just felt like we were a band and we'd done this amazing thing, and it was just really joyous and a really positive experience. I think just there was a great sense of pride from all of us in the room.
That sounds like it was really exciting. Let's take a listen to it.
Barefoot in the street, lining
workshop that I attended recently, that wasn't a typical workshop. I understand it was a more of a networking event. So what's the difference?
And so we thought that actually having a network would be a really good way of drawing people together from different areas, so that we've got people coming who have done some training in this area, people that want training in this area, people that are from like some of the charity sectors were with us. That's when we started off, we were at the Citadel, where we were going into a venue, which was a place that the refugees came to for welcome cafe events and English lessons. It was different from when we tried to put things on in a venue that was outside of that, which wasn't familiar to people. And so even just thinking about the choice of location for workshops and how people get to know about it, that's something that really needs a lot of consideration, so that if there's opportunity, it's being made use of and the most people are getting the most out of it as possible. So we've got to think quite a lot about doing that. You know, we want to think about the research element as well, because there is research going on in this area. So one of the good things about our project has been that we've managed to get funding for the research elements. So Federico, Mariana and myself have inputted into this, and we have our first article which should be coming out any week now in Music Arts in Action. So that's very exciting for us, and we're really hoping that we will be doing more, because it's such a fascinating thing to research. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. If anyone listening feels like funding some of this work, then we'd be absolutely delighted. So please just get in touch. Thank you.
Does the university get behind it and provide any funding?
And we are very interested, I think, in creating long-term opportunities for the community, not just 2 or 3 workshops, 4 workshops, whatever. So we wanted to create like a yearly workshops for them. So of course, we need money for that. So as we said, but this is probably our long-term aim.
And maybe, look outside York as well, especially as some of us I may not be in York for the long term. So it's good to be looking further afield to different organisations and universities even.
Are you aware of any similar projects anywhere else?
Well, there's other projects that have been set up, but I think this one is quite unique because we had the research element of it sort of embedded from the start. That was a key thing. We wanted to investigate our own process and think about it and reflect on that. Mariana, how about telling us what this project means to you?
Right. Personally, as a person, I've always been interested in the way in which music is really something that is an experience that I perceive as shared among human beings, is shared between people, is something that really is common to people all over the world, I would say. So when at the start, when Liz got in touch with me first, asking if I wanted to join this project, that there was a space as a researcher to join this project that she was already doing with Laura and Beth, and Federico and I were talking about this before we received Liz's email asking us to get involved. And we were really saying that something that we would really enjoy to do is to do some musical work with the community of refugees. And I am from Italy, so there is a big refugee crisis going on in Italy. People coming probably from a different area of the world than a lot of refugees that come to the UK. Most of the people in Italy are North African, but it's something I've been deeply aware of for a long time. It really happened by chance that we were discussing this and saying it would be really nice to do a musical project for these people who are displaced and who come here to this country with basically leaving everything behind them. So when we finally got this chance, I was like, well, that really sounds like something I would really want to do.
And I think this has been one of the best projects we have done, I think, because we found that we created something really meaningful for the community and for people that really needed this. So I think it was a powerful experience for us, and really looking forward to continuing this.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. So all that remains for me now is to thank Liz, Bethan, Lisa, Federico and Mariana for coming in. And I think it'd be good to end the show on one of the pieces of music created at one of the Common Ground workshops. So we hope you've enjoyed this. Goodbye and thanks for listening.